Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to the video. I'm Instigator92, and I saw this article here by PC Gamer about, as you can see in the title here, it says the greatest FPS mode of all time is endangered. And they mentioned that it never got better than Capture the Flag right here in the header there. So we're going to find out what this is about and why do they think or feel that CTF is on the way out. So I think it should be an interesting read. I haven't read through it yet, so this is going to be my first time going through it, and same time as you guys, if you haven't already read through it yourself. And it starts off, with the traditional Halo flag stolen, flag dropped, flag stolen, flag dropped. Nice little ode to Halo there. And it says here, so sang the anthem of Capture the Flag, a cornerstone mode of the multiplayer FPS that has persisted for over 3 decades. The mode is almost as old as the genre itself, but it was first popularized by the 3-wave CTF mod for Quake by Dave Zoid Kirsch. So it says it was impossible to be an FPS fan of the 90s or 2000s without a version of these words burning a permanent hole in your brain. Though the frequent updates from the announcer could be tedious, hearing them now elicits nothing but joy. So I'm assuming they mean like flag stolen, flag dropped, enemy has the flag, all that stuff, which very synonymous with the mode, as you have the announcer, or in Halo, the voice of God, constantly repeating it as people juggle the flag and just run across the map. And then it says here, 2 teams, 2 flags, 2 bases on opposite ends of a map. It's a dynamic game of close shaves, stalwart defenses, and upsets. There is no image more powerful in multiplayer gaming than a flag dropped mere feet from its destination, proof of a late hero who braved enemy lines and almost made it home. Yeah, that's one of the fun things with some of the objective modes, especially Capture the Flag, is you can have some really hype moments or some really big heartbreaking moments. Like, dude, we almost had it there. We could have tied the game. We could have won the game. There's a reason Capture the Flag is probably one of my favorite modes for Halo. I try not to throw around perfect lightly, but CTF really earns the superlative. Every FPS mode falls somewhere on the spectrum of casual and competitive play. Way over on the casual end is Team Deathmatch, a timeless classic that I also consider perfect. On the other end is Bomb Mode, or pretty much, Assault. The apex of a sweaty, tactical, and endlessly repeatable objective play. CTF is special because it does both, and it does them extremely well. At times, heisting the enemy flag is a gripping team effort that rewards coordination, stealth, map knowledge, and pure skill. Other times, the objective blurs into the background of a lobby that's more interested in blowing each other up. So yeah, they're not wrong. Team Deathmatch is definitely a more casual game mode. It's one that requires the least amount of thought and to some extent effort. And then, they mention here that assault, because you're actually having to take the bomb into the enemy base, where they basically have the home turf and they're just defending while you're assaulting. That is definitely, I would say, a correct statement to say it's much more sweatier. But each of them has their own niche. And you do get some games of CTF where it just kind of turns into Slayer, but then that's where like the discipline has to kick in and, make sure you're focused on the OBJ. So it says, it's normal and natural for not everyone among a lobby to be locked in on the objective. Isn't that the truth? So we had here, lobby to be locked in on the objective, and CTF is happy to accommodate. There are other great objective modes that work with minimal participation, King of the Hill, and Battlefield's Conquest come to mind, but they tend to work because the goal is as simple as standing in certain spots for a while. You can participate in Conquest by accident, but playing CTF takes intention. See? Intention. There's the key word there. Hill modes, especially in Conquest, the objectives are so big you could just happen to be in it. Or like on King of the Hill, sometimes like the hill's pretty big, but you're just standing in it. You don't have to ever put your gun down and actively pick up an objective and move it or do anything with it. You just got to stand there and defend yourself or play your life. See, it's a play style all its own, and in fact, the best flag carriers can harness a disorganized lobby. All it takes is a small splinter group or even just one fearless individual to sneak into a base and get out with the flag before anyone notices. So yeah, that's pretty much kind of true, because all it takes is for one person to get into an enemy's base, and even if they're not getting successful flag pulls out of the base, that's creating pressure on the enemy base so that you can, your team can get pressure on the map, because then the other team's probably going to be turning around trying to stop that in some way, shape, or form. And even if they get a successful flag pull because the other team's fighting over in your base or something, you get that flag to even, let's just say, the halfway point of the map, that's an easy contest that you could fight for and win. I mean, maybe not easy, but, you know, it's better than having to go all the way back to the enemy base and try to break in. It's a format that's only as sweaty as the people playing it. See, I tend to play a little bit more competitive, so that's why I keep making the side comments. See, it's a format that's only as sweaty as the people playing it. It's poker night. It's pickup basketball. It's social. It's competitive, but only so serious. Doesn't that embody what the FPS genre used to do so well before matchmaking made strangers of us all? The multiplayer FPS was a place. Servers were hangout spots with friends, regulars, and established house rules. This is a good point. You know, everyone used to be a lot more communicative in lobbies. You know, back before party chat was a thing, and even when party chat was a thing on 360, people spent more time in game chat. So these objective modes, people communicated more and probably better, and that was a way to kind of socialize and find new players to play with. And that's, I mean, that's even in the social modes, not even just ranked. In ranked, they had the same thing, but when you have a rank tied to it, that makes it more on the sweaty side. But, you know, you can have your social, which is, you know, the pickup basketball, and then competitive is the ranked. And like the poker night, that, you know, they're just saying getting together, hanging out kind of a thing. It definitely used to be a different time back then. I mean, even now, it can still be that, but there's not as many tools and games that allow us to do that. Like, they don't allow you pre-game lobby, post-game lobby, to either communicate with the enemy team or even just to talk a little bit of trash. Just everything being hangout spots. Gaming used to be for fun. Now a lot of games tend to be focused towards like that esports, and then matchmaking is very hyper competitive with the whole, with the skill-based matchmaking and everything. So it's a lot of what we used to have has gone out the window. And skill-based was always kind of there, but, you know, it's kind of something that, while it was a much toned-down version of what we have today, it allowed for more varied experiences and a much better one than always, you know, making you feel as if you have to try your ass off to win every single game. So we have here, where did CTF go? CTF was the perfect pastime. So it's a shame that the mode has become a rarity. Look around at the popular shooters of today and you won't find many flags, but it's understandably why. CTF was born from the arena shooter, a genre that's been effectively dead for a long time. The mode's waning presence coincided with the rise of multiplayer service games built around single modes with purpose-built maps. Hero shooters, extraction shooters, and battle royales don't offer the variety that was once expected of a Quake, Tribes, or Halo. And Tribes is, I'm pretty sure they're talking about like Tribes Ascend and games like that. You know, Quake was an arena shooter, obviously, and then everyone knows Halo, or at least you should. But yeah, like, I definitely agree with that. You know, we're definitely far away from having a lot of arena shooters. You know, I grew up with Halo and Gears of War being my main games. I think those games offer a much better experience than some of these other ones, and especially like more replayability for me. I mean, every game has, to some extent, its own way of becoming repetitive. But I think arena shooters, because you have different modes, different maps, it just gives you a lot more options and a lot more ways to play. Now, I could sit there and play a Battle Royale 100 million times, just like I could an arena shooter. But there definitely is something to be said with the experience being different from game to game, playing on the same map, versus, hey, we're going to land here, The loot might be different with it being randomized, but, you know, typically it's fairly the same. Similarly, Counter-Strike 2 and Rainbow Six Siege are so hyper-focused on bomb that alternate modes tend to die on the vine or not exist in the first place. Even Call of Duty, an enduring bastion of mode variety, doesn't always make room for the CTF. The last time it appeared at all was as a late season arrival in Modern Warfare 3 from 2023. The last time it was included as a core launch mode was 2017. So yeah, like you have games like Counter-Strike and Siege, that's their strength, right? Playing that offense-defense type mode. You could have that with Flag as a one flag game mode instead of a multi-flag where each team has one, where you have to go into their base, steal their flag, and bring it back. In these modes, these games are built, you have to attack the enemy base, plant your bomb, defend the site for a little bit, or just wipe the enemy team. And that works better because in those games, you have one life. You don't get the chance to respawn. So having a CTF game mode doesn't really make sense, whereas if you have like an assault game mode, where you have to bring an objective somewhere while picking off the enemy team, definitely is a little bit of a smoother experience with that style of game. You could build a whole game around CTF, but you won't get much love for trying to bring back a classic, as the developers of Last Flag and High Guard learned just this year. And it's been like this for a long time now. Tribes Ascend, whose CTF mode stood out for its speed and difficulty, got its last update in 2016. No, I reckon CTF needs to be one great option among many to truly thrive. And there just aren't many folks making shooters like that anymore. The one popular FPS where CTF is still prominent is Team Fortress 2, which swaps flags for intelligence briefcases. I think every day I've ever played Team Fortress 2 has involved at least one embattled round of Two Fort, a legendary venue for CTF whose discreet tunnels and Swiss cheese interior were built with that mode in mind. But when I think of CTF, I think of Halo. You could still play it through the Master Chief Collection or Halo Infinite as a core arena mode, and I suggest you do, because I don't believe there has ever been a more successful marriage of game and mode. Its large, spacious maps make flag runs intense, and the measured movement speed of players means you usually have plenty of time to react to a stolen flag before it scores. I don't know if Halo was the first game to do this, but I also think it was genius to make the flag carrier have to actually carry the flag. Not only are teams encouraged to guard the vulnerable carrier, but the flag itself becomes a deadly and memorable last-ditch melee weapon. They mentioned Halo Master Chief Collection and Infinite, having that as a core arena mode, which is true, but your ability to play objective modes in Halo right now is minimal. They have incorporated, if you're not aware, a feature called the Match Composer, which means you're able to go into matchmaking and completely choose, in the case of MCC, the specific games you want to play between Halo CE to Halo 4, and you could choose the modes you want to play. And in Halo Infinite, it's pretty much the same thing. You have your 4v4 mode, 8v8, and 12v12, and then you could pick the game types you want to play. And unfortunately, what this has done is it's led to mostly team deathmatch games, because there is just no team objective playlist or team social playlist where you just go in there and you get a variety of game modes and types. Everyone's literally just picking Slayer, and it's made it hard to kind of have replayabilities in those games where everyone's just playing Slayer all the time. So let's see. Halo accommodates CTF at every scale and permutation. You can be a stealthy infiltrator who picks up active camo and disappears the flag along the way, or along with it. You can barge in and Terminator your way into a possession, but the inclusion of vehicles is when Halo really shines. You'll never feel closer to total randos in a shooter than you will after joining a 3-person Warthog crew. raiding the enemy base, and burning rubber with your buddy white-knuckling the flag in the passenger seat. But hey, I'm turning 30 this year, so of course my ideal version came from the mid-2000s. For other perspectives, I suggest reading this fun Reddit gaming post in which dozens of people just start naming CTF games they dug. The thread has 98 comments, yet just 12 upvotes, which feels appropriate for our underappreciated mode. CTF doesn't enjoy the spotlight anymore, but for many, it never got better. I do think that, Halo does the best with, having 4v4 modes and then big team battle with the objective and vehicles. Now, Halo Infinite kind of suffers a little bit because you can't make, like they say here, they talk about stealth plays. In Halo Infinite, you can't really make stealth plays in the same sense that you could in the classic games because the players all have player outlines. So you just kind of stick out like a sore thumb on the map. You can't quite creep. Yeah, it's like sometimes the modern game mechanics really take the mode and make it harder than it needs to be, or, in this case, something that would be a little bit more casual makes it a little bit more sweaty, because if you can always see everyone at any point in time, it's easy to just kind of put rounds downrange and prevent someone from getting to the base. Something else to consider is nowadays in a lot of games, advanced movement kind of is the thing. And fast-paced games don't do well with objectives like this. Something that's a little bit more methodical, probably a little bit slowing the game down. They really kind of lose that, and especially with lower TTK times, it's just going to be a lot more frustrating to try to get a flag and run it out. And that's where CTF shined in older games like Quake, Halo, and Team Fortress. You got more health, you got to put more damage into people. You're able to kind of like play your life a little bit more. People can't just run up to you, kill you in like less than half a second. And then having just that one pace really makes it a good chess match to kind of go through, try to attempt to steal it, or as the enemy team's trying to steal yours, all of a sudden come up with like that perfect defense and stop a flag steal or halt a flag run like at the flag stand of the enemy base and return your flag and then counter cap. But I do think that CTF could definitely come back in a big way, especially with Halo, being the champion of the mode right now, I would say. Because Team Fortress isn't really carrying the torch and doing anything with it, my opinion. But that would require Halo to become more of a classic feeling Halo. No advanced movement, no sprint. I believe you would have more people that would be willing to play those modes because it'd be much more casual at that point than having the advanced movement that is currently in Halo right now, which makes it very unfriendly to players that want to play more casually versus your players that want to just sweat. Yeah, that's kind of my takes on it. Definitely interested to hear what you guys think of the article and some of the things I kind of brought up during this video. So feel free to comment down below. I'll definitely be watching and interacting with you guys. And feel free to hit that like and subscribe button. That helps me and the channel out. And if you hit that notification bell along with those, you'll get notified anytime I upload content like this, or I happen to go live throughout the week. I stream Monday, Thursday, Friday night, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard. That's 8:30 Eastern. And the streams are typically a good fun time. I tend to play a variety of games right now. I've been playing some single-player games a couple days throughout the week, and then Fridays have pretty much been my Halo nights. And Halo is always going to be a mainstay on this channel. Huge Halo fan, as you see in the back. I got a couple posters and things there. But yeah, I appreciate you guys all stopping by, hanging out. I hope you have a good rest of your day or night, depending on when you happen to watch this video, and a good rest of your week. And I will catch you guys on the next one.